San Diego State men's basketball in first place, kind of. Not a lot of margin left for error for San Diego State basketball. They're in a three-way tie for first place with Utah State and New Mexico as they walked into Logan, Utah, with a chance to separate itself with the Mountain West. Instead, the Aztecs walked out with a 71-66 loss at Utah State. And now we've got to a full-blown five-team race. Here's the reality. San Diego State, Utah State, New Mexico are all 9-2. Nevada and Grand Canyon are close behind. And suddenly, every night feels like March Madness. Head coach Brian Dutcher said it best. It's a heck of a Mountain West, and no one's wrong. But San Diego State also let a huge opportunity slip. The good news is the Aztecs still control their destiny. They've already played road games against most of the contenders, and the schedule sets up favorably over the next 5 games. Wyoming this week, Air Force of the weekend, Nevada, Grand Canyon, both at home, and then at Colorado State. These are must wins if San Diego State wants at least a share of the Mountain West title.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we talked about on the show on Tuesday, and as we also discussed last week during this update, Utah State has not yet played New Mexico. San Diego State had a great opportunity to try to separate themselves from the field and unfortunately failed the same way the football team did when they had that very same opportunity. And now they do have a home game against Utah State coming up. They also play New Mexico again, but now they're also relying on those two teams going up against each other because Utah State and New Mexico have not played each other yet. And this is going out on YouTube for Wednesday. They're playing tonight. Utah State and New Mexico are playing tonight in their first game, and that's also how they end the season as well. So San Diego State, they are in a help yourself spot, but they're also in a position where they can also get a little help from outside.
Yeah, the bad news, of course, for San Diego State is health. Again, Reese Dixon Waters rolled his ankle in the second half and wasn't the same at Utah State. Magoon Guath remains out. Elsie Harrington is in a walking boot. Sounds like he's going to be in a walking boot for a couple of weeks. That's 40% of the starting lineup, either compromised or unvaluable, and it showed late in Logan. But before we get to the context of how San Diego State has adapted and under Brian Dutcher has performed after losses, you look at the 40% of the starting lineup being compromised or unavailable. It goes back to the beginning of the season where they thought they have a lot of depth. And you know what? With the schedule that they have coming up, San Diego State can still capitalize on all those games with the depth that they have. It's just the next man up mentality. And you know what? It's going to be a lot of Miles Byrd again.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of injuries. Remember, at the start of the season, we were talking about missing Miles Byrd and Magoon Guath. Now you just have Guath. Bird's come back and has worked his way into an everyday, healthy every single day, playing out there most minutes. But now you're seeing Reese Dixon Waters get hurt, Elsie Harrington. These are the supporting cast members surrounding Miles Byrd, especially with Magoon Guath not there, that San Diego State really needs out on the floor. And there's only so many next men left that you can call on.
Aztecs 36-2 at home after a loss under Brian Dutcher. They've won 14 straight games against Wyoming going into Tuesday's matchup, and they're 51-11 in games immediately following a loss. Program never really lets one loss turn into two. They're going to need that definitely in the next 5 games or so. Now, the NIL reality check. This was interesting. Mark Ziegler posted this about Utah State and San Diego State when they got to meet this week. This week also pulled back the curtain on something bigger than one game. Brian Dutcher openly admitted San Diego State does not have the NIL or revenue-sharing firepower to compete nationally, and the Aztecs are operating with around $3 million in men's basketball funding. That sounds a lot until you realize 30-plus programs nationally are north of $10 million. Kentucky is reportedly at $22 million, and San Diego State is heading into a new Pac-12 with Gonzaga, which is a basketball-only juggernaut with full revenue share. They're going to get the football money, and guess what they're going to do with it? Like we've said so many times, pump it directly into basketball. Brian Dutcher isn't complaining, but he is kind of warning everybody, how can San Diego State continue to overachieve before money finally wins? And that's going to be a topic of discussion, I think, for the next couple of years to come. But we do got to get to some women's basketball. They are the most trustworthy team in town right now. While the men are navigating chaos, the SDSU women's basketball team are rock solid, 17-3 overall, 11-0 in conference. The Aztecs have won 13 straight, beating Nevada 67-54 at Viejas. Defense, balance, depth, same formula every night. They never trailed. They held Nevada to 33% shooting. They got scoring from everyone. Kaylin Hamilton continues her surge. with the team. Bailey Barnhard, Nayla Williams, steady as ever. Coach Stacey Terry Hudson nailed it. Quote, "We're not the hunter anymore. We're the hunted." The women's basketball programs in town, Frank, are really doing a lot.
Yeah, they're doing really, really well. And as you mentioned, 11-0 in conference. That they lost a non-conference game after we had Coach Terry Hudson on our show, and Chris Ello yelled at us after that, and they've been on a tear ever since.
Our apologies. They keep winning, though. Different styles, different heroes, same result. Aztec women's basketball.